right now.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna start with rollouts, I guess, since
Pretty sure I know what mine
were...
was. You just threw me off, is all I thought it was. That's why I had
Oh
to
yeah,
ask if
no,
you were
like
doing it. Yeah.
you can do it off the right wall here.
Right. That's what I usually do. I usually slide off those stairs too.
Yeah, that's fine. And then just like jump
And
to
go,
the
yeah.
cat.
Go to cat. Yep. Okay.
You can do it off this left wall and just go off the truck as well.
Okay.
It
Oh,
makes
that
the
should be
slide a
no
little more
problem.
consistent, but
Okay. Okay.
yeah, there's that. And then yeah, P soldier rollout, you're just like running through Z and you like get your bow around here in front of Saw. And then I'm assuming you know your rollout, Spleen, or
Yeah, I saw quite a bit of Habib do it a bit. Like it's like stick
okay.
on like the wall of spawn and like in that shutter wall there, right?
Yeah,
Into
there are
saw.
two options from this point. You can jump, you can put your stick on the left and go to Saw, or you can put your stick on the right and jump to lower. Either option is fine. So yeah, that works itself out then. So okay.
I
I
can just
guess
skip the rollouts then.
yeah, that's fine.
The
So
scouts know what to do.
yeah, you just run through C
Yeah.
and then take positions. So yeah, Snakewater. This map is very confrontational a lot of the time. This mid, it's confrontational. A lot of the map is very hard for Soldier, I'd say. It's one of the harder maps, mostly because there are wide open spaces with little cover, and there's very limited like height for a soldier to
Yeah.
play on. So like mid, there's like these few areas. On second is the worst defender because like there's all this space. But like yeah, sure you have your height like here, but you're getting shot. So like I'll talk about it when I get to second, but the best place for you to like land, especially if you're doing a sack, is like on Bats area, because it's just so hard to deal with you there. But that's for later. So I'm gonna talk about mid fights first, and then go coast to coast, starting for defending last, and then end with attacking. So mid fight, like I said, this mid's very confrontational. It's very soldier based, but there are a lot of options that other players have as well. So your roamer rolls out cat, and your pocket usually rolls out through here to saw. You can stand up here too. Your spam angles, like you can tell on roamer, your spam angles are hard because like this will maybe catch a soldier. That splash will catch a scout sometimes. But most of the spam really comes from like up here, and that's a lie. Don't be up there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched much like roamer gameplay on Snakewater, but a lot of it involves like you're chilling around cat, and
Yeah.
then if the plan is to like double bomb, you
That's
wait
what we
for
do
crit
most mids,
kills.
like pretty
Is
quick.
just double.
Yeah, we kind of
Okay,
just send it off
if
rip
it's quick,
because
that's fine.
yeah,
But you can like get spam and then play for your heals, then just waddle
yeah,
down here. Then you have
true.
like spam angles here.
Yeah,
But don't be
yeah,
down
because
here for too
whenever
long.
yeah, if I'm up
Yeah.
top and I peek that shit, I die instantly if I
Yeah.
cross over to those. Like it's
It's
just
the same
every
thing.
time.
It's the same thing for your flank scout. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
soldier. It's the same thing for your flank scout, who will generally be around this area. So yeah, pocket, demo, medic. So this is like a basic Snakewater middle plan, and then you have a few jumps as roamer. You probably know about this high jump. It's pretty good. You can do it in a little bit
Wait,
of
can you
a...
show me again? Sorry, I was grabbing a beer.
It's just off this left wall here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it.
Oh, okay. I don't know it, bro.
Oh,
I'm
really?
like I think I have maybe 180 hours on soldier, like in the
Okay.
game, and
Yeah,
300
you can
50
technically do
intel.
it off
So
the... Yeah, doing it up from up here is usually preferred, because down here your jump gets a little cocked.
right.
So yeah, you can go like super high from here, and then you can choose to land like anywhere,
Okay.
more or less.
I'd usually just bomb off that left wall and try to speed shot off of like kind of up where the scout is, but where it's flat.
Yeah, you can do that too. That's
It's
usually fine,
yeah.
especially if you want to go into their saw.
That's
But
how they usually play in this.
speed is when you've already made a decision on like where you want to
Right.
go or who
Right.
you want to land on. But generally, height is much
Is
nicer
better.
because you can
Okay.
make a decision midair.
Right.
So
Right.
like, let's say you're here, and like you have your momentum and stuff, but like
Mhm.
their scout, like both of their scouts are staring at you. Then it's
Right.
like, oh,
Better to just
no
fade or
thanks.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then vice versa, like, oh, you're high in the air and then nobody is looking at you. It's like, okay,
So
cool.
just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and that's very hard decisions to make in the moment, but
Right.
a lot of soldier is like building your own flowchart just over time.
Okay.
It takes a long time. Um, so yeah, there's that. You can do like a high and low, where like you can have your roamer
Oh
go
yeah, yeah,
high,
yeah.
and then your P soldier over here just goes low. And
Right.
yeah, that's good because it it artificially makes your timing like really good because your low soldier will be the one that's looked at, right?
Right.
So and like there's better ways of doing this bomb, but I'm not a
I get.
player.
Yeah.
But like he goes low super fast, but like you're still high in the air, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Right. So
So
the scouts
like
are looking at him.
yeah, if they're unaware and undisciplined, they'll just use all their resources on this guy rather
Mhm.
than like you know what I mean?
Right.
So you can do mids like that. As either like a roamer or P soldier, you can do it like a kitchen mid, where
Okay.
you like go into their kitchen. There's all kinds of fancy stuff. I won't elaborate too much. Just have your two plans be either like either bomb you high roamer to like
Mhm.
counter aggress on their aggression, or if you want to do like a send mid, you just go high and low. And then your flank scout can walk a lane. Oops, your flank scout can walk a lane. Your demo can walk across point, and then your P scout can play around high and pay attention to soldiers. All kinds of good stuff. Was there any specific confusions about Snakewater mid? Because I can't give you guys like all the
I think
greatest
so.
plans in the
Really.
world, but
I mean,
okay,
we usually just die a lot on height, or I do, if I'm
okay.
playing height. So I just won't
High
get.
ground. Okay, here's the thing. High ground is good for spotting and mid fight. It's never amazing early fight because when you're up
Okay.
here, especially as like a low mobility class, well, okay, you're high mobility, but like low movements, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like you're up here trying to like do your thing. You can't stay here for very long because it's a very
Easy to push
like
me. Yeah.
centralized position, right? Everyone immediately looks at you
Uh-huh.
and no one is like around you literally, right? Which makes it very hard to like just stay up here, right?
Right.
Um
So like, if
so
I'm not bombing, maybe just chill and wait, and then go up.
yes, exactly. Because if it's like the team that takes high ground second wins, right? It's
Right.
not necessarily about holding high ground all the time. It's just holding it when it's important, which is usually later in the fight.
Okay.
Um, Now that being said, like never not take high ground till things are fighting because it's good for gathering info. Like, oh, you can like peek
Yeah, I
up
could
or
peek it. Yeah.
something. Yeah, sure. Or like your scout can and give you info then, but
Okay.
you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So mid fights are pretty simple,
Yeah.
I'd
If we're
say.
like trying to play passive and like counter bomb.
Yeah. The last game, I felt chained. We're playing
So
so
that's what
passive.
I kind of mentioned before with like your roamer high bombing to counter aggress on their aggression. You can play for your pocket soldier and like your scout demo, and then play for your medic to kite into Saw. And then your P soldier and scout will turn for the soldiers like landing on your medic, right?
Right.
While your med like kites around corners and stuff.
So I guess I got a question here. For the first mid of a game we would play, like with a team we don't know, should we just play passive and see what they do, or like is that pussy? And
It's entirely up to how you guys are feeling. Like, there's no correct way to like play a mid.
right,
Technically, like, if you want to think about it really hard, you can be like, okay, let's feel them out and play a passive mid and stuff like that. But like, you don't know their habits, and why would you want to observe their habits really hard when you don't even know your own habits yet, you know?
right, yeah,
So yeah, like if you want to play passive mids, that's fine. And the way you can do it is again, like have your
yeah,
scout
just play for the
soldier
bombs, yeah,
play for the bombs, and then your demo and flank scout and roamer can play to stop the players that are trying to walk across the point, right?
yeah, yeah.
So does that answer that question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to talk about defending mid disad. So this point, there are a few ways to go about it. You can play to leave your med kitchen on disad. You have a soldier and your flank scout. And that looks weird, but I'll explain it in a sec. And then I don't usually put demo in any specific place because the door your demo traps is based off of info, right?
Right.
And your demo can realistically just like get out, you know, from sticky jumping.
Mm-hmm.
So if your demo wants to leave kitchen with your beam, that's fine. If your demo wants to play forward and really stuff the lower door if they're coming lower, and then just jump out lower, that's fine. As long as you don't die, your position isn't bad. It's kind of a weird way of putting it. But let me explain the flank scout real quick. So flank scout can spot lower like this just through the fence, and your pocket soldier should be able to spot saw pretty realistically, right? So the thing about spotting like this too is you can see players moving towards saw, especially if they're like jumping, right? You can like see their heads because you see this little area
the
here.
gap.
Yeah, you can see their heads, so you can see if they're moving saw. Plus, if your angle's fine, you can see both sides, so you shouldn't get rushed. So you can see if they're coming saw from lower sometimes, and you can also see if they're coming lower. So you get a lot of information from here as a flank scout.
We'll have to tell Justin that.
Yeah. And then, again, your P soldier is just spotting saw.
Yeah.
If they come saw, then call it. Your roamer up here just has a lot of really good spam from this angle. You can stuff cat really effectively. You can stuff lower even better. And combined with pressure from like your demo, for instance, your disad holds on this point are pretty good overall. Again, just be aware, spot always, especially if you're flank scout and P soldier. That's kind of your deal, is being info gatherers. And call early if you want to sack, if you're one of the soldiers, or also call early if you want to just spam a doorway instead of just like jumping onto it. Because it's pretty realistic where you can just like, oh, they're coming lower that your flank scout spotted, right? And so you're like, oh, and then you're doing this. And if they force, you jump out. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, any questions about that?
Mm-mm. Not for me.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Okay. Pushing into second, there are a lot of good doors. Saw is usually your aggro door. It's a lot closer to where the enemy will be. Which in turn means lower is kind of your safer door to like milk from. The biggest nuisance on this point specifically is sniper. Because you can tell, like, you've probably experienced before, a sniper on bats on this map is very annoying to deal with. So always be aware of a sniper if you're planning to milk. And again, if you're planning to milk the Uber, coming lower is good. But if you spot them or you're just feeling it and you want to just rip it into them, then Saw is your best door. Alternatively, this map is unique because if you come close, realize you don't want to pop or something, and they have a lot of pressure on your door, you can simply run out window and go lower. That's a unique thing about this map that other maps don't share, is you can transfer your doorway very quickly. So if you want to abuse it, you can. You can just bring your combo just out and into lower. Beware of traps. This window is very trapped a lot. Specifically for that reason. But yeah. Again, like, spotting is everything. If you see a sniper, don't be afraid to just use to avoid like a lot of chaos. And yeah. So that's actually pushing into the next point. We can talk about like evens mid to second. Most of your pressure comes from two things. You jump a soldier to bats, and this is a lot of pressure. Or you can jump a soldier into cheese, and this is also a lot of pressure. Usually, depending on which one you're doing, so if you jump a soldier to bats, bring your combo lower. Oh, oopsies. To help support the bat soldier, and then your flank is Saw. And then vice versa. If you want to jump a soldier into cheese, bring your combo Saw. And then your flank lower. And then alternatively too, if you have good enough pressure, you can even jump your roamer just onto bats. And then like continue the cycle. You know what I mean? So what's your goal when you jump to bats or cheese? You're looking to draw eyes for one. If they start turning for you, you play this corner like even harder. Because this corner is like very hard for a scout to deal with, unless they have winger, but that's a whole different thing. So if they start running up on you, you can just keep like shooting this continuously. And if they aren't looking at you, you have a really good spam angle. I usually don't recommend peeking like this because it's kind of like the high ground on mid, right? Yes, this is like good momentarily, but as soon as they look at you, your whole plan is like botched, right? Yeah. And of course too, if you are getting jumped, you have the option of just like counter jumping. You can even like jump around and go into lobby or something. Just be annoying. Realize too that the longer you stay alive during moments like this, the better your pressure will be. So as long as you don't explode within the first 5 seconds, I'd say that's a good way to start. Does mid to second pressure make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes?
I'm just wondering about like specific sacks besides just jumping to bats there and like.
So there are a few. You could just like jump from lower and then just land on the med. That's fine. Even jumping from Saw, this is a good wall to get high on. And then there's a lot of speed too with the Saw one. You can jump off of this Saw blade and just get to their bats. You can even like do some bullshit like this and you have like 2 rockets reloaded by the time you land. You know, or you can just choose to go into their lobby. That's fine too.
Would you recommend like sending both soldiers or just one or like a scout?
You can, if you're going to send both, do it like one, and then after a few seconds. It's something I kind of mentioned on mid when you do like the low high.
Right.
Is when you're going low, it artificially makes your timing of the high soldier good, because this low guy is in faster, so this other guy is like in slower, and that's good for your timing. If you're gonna send both soldiers, do your pressure with your other players, right? You know, you can
Yeah,
like
because
have
I don't
your
want to fucking be
players poking
alone.
lower. Yeah, exactly. And then you can jump your first soldier, sure. And then you can play to insta die or something. But after like a second or two of I'm bombing, your other guy should go if that's the plan.
Okay.
Heard.
Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this. Like, I'm tired. I'm
But he's
very
been
tired
sleeping
from
the whole
day.
time, actually.
Um.
Don't worry, Spleen. Nothing's important has happened for you yet.
Well,
I mean, he was here for mid, I think,
it's
so we're
like
good.
And it's all on record.
it's
And then
hard
he
to
just follows
really
Dev, and then he just plays
it's
combo.
hard to
It's
really
fine.
talk about demo because
Right.
a lot of you is like being an artillery cannon for pressure, right? Where you sit in a relatively safe place and lay down carpets or do 40s to people across the map, right? Or you have quickies and you do fucking 80 map.
True.
So yeah, there's a lot of trap spots I'll probably mention toward the so disadd second. Disadd second is hey, remember when I said I'd go coast to coast? I totally forgot about that.
Don't even worry about it. Don't
Yeah,
matter
it's fine.
now. We're good.
So-
We're rocking with it.
Disadd second. So this is usually the setup: flank scout, pocket scout, medic. Oops, that's not a medic. Memdic. You can have your demo around here too. You get a little peephole that you can jump over to like check traps. So here's fine. Even just playing on point's fine as long as you jump out. He's soldier roamer. So your spam on this is awesome, right? And this goes for either soldier. Let's say you sack 2 into last, right? And that doesn't go well. Well, you can set it up like demo man, soldier, and then like scout, medic. Oh, medic. So your med tank's your soldier who gets very good spam into lobby. Your scout is watching lower, and your demo gets traps into lobby and also helps spam. Technically, I probably should have mentioned this a little later, but it's still a disadvantageous position on second, right? So if it's even Ubers and you're down players, this is what you do. If it's disadd on Ubers, then I still like a soldier either cheese or ramp, and then a soldier bats, flank scout, pocket scout, demo man, either is fine, and then medic. So this lets you do your spam just with both soldiers, right?
Right.
Your demo can have traps anywhere and still sees lower, right? You can see someone's head just like poking up. And then your flank scout will help either get a kill that gets a lot of spam in lobby, don't overextend for it, or if a soldier or someone runs into cheese, you help deal with that, right? And then you can just leave saw whenever they come into use. Pushing out of last on this map is one of the most Herculean tasks to perform in the game, and that's because of this hold. Like, you just have all of your explosives just like fucking all over the place, right?
Right.
And there are these tiny, tiny doorways that are very hard to push out of.
6s with 12 demo man.
Yeah, right.
Imagine that.
So, yeah, there's that. Biggest things to look out for: Africa. It's deadly. It's why I mentioned you have a guy that's able to see this at all times. Either this soldier can see it or the scout can see it.
So I have a question here. So whenever we're pushing last, usually, well, I'll say usually, sometimes we can see the gun from under, so we will just push Africa like immediately and kill the gun. Is that fine? Like, is it fine to just push
I'll
Africa? Is
get.
what I'm saying?
I'll actually get to pushing last in this. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
talk about it right now.
Are
Actually,
we
because
defending? Sorry, my brain stopped for a second. I
this
guess.
was that was disad.
Oh, okay, right.
I can talk about attacking last
No,
now.
that's good. I got that. Don't even worry about that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
locked in with this, Ed. Sorry.
So attacking evens, right? So Banny gun. Just here. I'll just put like a blue demo or blue soldier here. This is like the Banny gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's super good. It shoots drop down. It shoots right. It shoots lower. It's very annoying to deal with. If you want to take both soldiers and just shoot it, that's fine. If you want to take one soldier, like you have your soldier, medic, and then typically other soldier drop down, and then you have like explosive and like maybe a scout here to help. Because you know the setup. Like usually their demos like over there, right? And then they just have a soldier drop down. This guy representing enemy soldier. So you push the soldier off a drop down, then your soldiers can be like, okay, spamming gun, 3, 2, 1, and then they go to spam the gun from both angles. Lower guy getting tanked because he gets shot by the gun, by the way. So yeah, there's that. Something to realize though is banning gun's really good. So if you don't kill the gun, that's fine. You can play an off class like sniper spy. You can sap the gun. That's fine. You can even play to jump through lefts and like get all the way to their truck to spam the gun, right? You can even spam it from under here, by the way. So little tip and trick. Of course, if everyone turns for you, you need to like do some fucking evasive maneuvers to attempt to survive. But if they're turning for you, then your team should be gun, right? So yeah, there's that. So yeah, there are a few ways to deal with the gun. Whichever one you guys prefer is fine. If you want to just like ignore the gun and just rip it with a sack, there's this jump I mentioned a second ago that I really like. So you jump your soldier in, and you know he can get on the demo, or whatever, and then your flank scout just rushes right behind him. That's a fine sack. Just like running your soldier scout. And then you know you can have like soldier, actually more like soldier watching lower. Your combo here, and then your flank rushing. That's fine. Other sacks, if you can get the space top left, just jumping here is really good, because again, it's a high wall. What a lot of teams do if they're gonna do this wall jump is they're sapping the gun with a spy. So, like Banny gun, your spy saps it, and then you know the call is like, okay, sapping gun in 2, and then you're like, okay, and then you're like high in the air already, which lets you land on the medic. I'll talk about the hold in a sec. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do, however you want to blueprint. Hello.
Oop.
What?
Oop.
So yeah, like any other questions about the attacking? Like, are there any other things you guys feel like you're struggling with attacking Snakewater last? Because it's understandable. This map is very hard to
Heavy.
push into. Pudis?
Heavy fucker.
Why?
I don't know. He just fucking lives and kills us, especially if they have a gun. Like if how do I even put this? I feel like it's hard to focus, or for us to focus 2 of them at once. Like we got to take out the gun, and then if we take out the gun, the heavy will kill something. Like we usually lose people on last pushes. I feel like, and it becomes disad pretty quick.
Yeah.
Why
I
did
don't know.
okay?
Yeah.
Something
Tell me
to
how it
think
is.
about is So heavy by himself isn't that amazing.
Right.
The biggest problem that okay, bye.
That's okay. I don't know. I think he wanted to play, but yeah.
Oh, I see. The
He's a
biggest
sub.
problem that soldiers face versus a Pootis is just the fact that Pootis is like another gun, but he's somehow worse because you feel like he's more killable than he is, right?
Right.
So what a lot of soldiers do, and you can probably attest to this, is they'll just jump onto him, right?
Yeah.
That's what Pootis wants. Pootis wants you to jump onto him. Don't. Is
Okay.
like the most honest answer I can give. The best way to deal with heavy is they have a heavy, spamming heavy in 3, right? Or kill heavy, just like some call. And then your soldiers can take some position that they like or something and just do this maneuver. Either that or all 6 of you walk out. Like, seriously. That's usually in like a Uber ad situation where we're popping into them, and I'll talk about that in a sec. Where it's fine to have a plan like that, but in an even scenario, you have to take yourself a little slower, right? And another plan you can do is you just play to sack like, right? Maybe not everybody, but if you sack 2 or 3, they will entice themselves to push out, right? Which gets them off of their off class. And I've mentioned before that pushing out of this last is very hard. So it's very realistic, especially if you only send a soldier scout and they die and they get off of their off classes, that you can just set up your pressure, right? Oh, what I mentioned earlier, right? Soldier ramp, demo and bats, scout watching lower. You can get a lot of kills and even a force like this, I would say. Plus, it forces them off of their off classes, which you're saying you're struggling, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of not really a meme, but it's kind of real where sometimes what it takes to win the game is not winning it on last, but winning it on second, right? Because you might have noticed that, like, sometimes you guys will overcook on second or something, and then all of you will wipe, and then it's like, oh, well, the round's just over, because you're not spawning in time for last. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about if you feel like you're struggling with the last push a lot. Of course, during scrims, I feel like it's good to just build the fundamentals of, like, okay, step 1 for every, like, sacking attempt into last is like killing the gun, right? So attempt to kill the gun. If you fail at doing that, then you need to do sack attempts that have the gun in mind, right? Like, okay, we can run a sniper, we can run a spy, stuff like that. Or you can just high bomb someone, you know. Some teams get creative. You can run man treads, unironically. That'll stop the gun from the knockback, right? So yeah, there's all kinds of solutions to think about. You can even just build a banner if you can't be fucked with it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Did you have a question, by the way? I think I felt like I cut you off. When are you?
Oh,
It wasn't me.
what I do think we haven't talked about is like pushing into mid.
Yeah, I can do that in a sec.
Holding last would be more important. I mean, we got some ideas just based off of pushing into last, but like.
So pushing mid actually isn't too complicated. I'll just talk about that for a sec. So for every pushing into point, whenever I do a map review, it's always like, this is your like use through door and this is your safe door, right? There are doors on every map where you want to pop through, and doors on every map that you choose because you don't want to pop, right? Lower is kind of a safe door. Saw is your biggest safe door. And then kitchen is your pop door, right? So there's your I want to use into them now. There's your in between, right? And then there's your is safe. you know? There's Cat also. Cat is good. So Cat will get you height positioning with like your soldiers or your scout and set up like a safe area for like your medic to play around, right? Saw is one of the safer doors because it's furthest away from everything. But you need to watch out for a close demo man with traps, a close soldier, or just like a hiding soldier that can get a call and just high bomb, right? So stuff to be aware of. And then your pop through door. This is really good for catching people, right? If you know they're going to leave kitchen, you can genuinely have a plan to just pop through and catch them lower, right? So there's that. Of course, like, keep it simple. I want to go this door because I want to use, right? And it doesn't have to be, like, more complicated than that for now. Does that kind of make sense?
I think so.
Okay. This is... I'm gonna go to red side. I'm going to talk about the last hold. I don't think I missed much else, did I? Who knows? So yeah,
Worth it for like the recording. Talk about the bucket trap.
I will.
Like,
Stuff like that is like miscellaneous after all of the important stuff. So, gun spots. Banny gun. I like to line it up with the left side of the staircase and kind of hold it, like keep it a little further back. Just like as it starts going down the slope. This gun, if you can see, will shoot drop down, and if I turn to my right, it shoots most of right. You know, I mentioned earlier. Plus, excuse me, when they go to peek the gun, they have to peek it deeper, right? In order to shoot it. Instead of just like doing it like this, they have to like move, you know? You keep your soldier close lower, your medic and intern your dispenser, demo man, and then roamer, right? And then your other scout is just on whatever off class they feel like, right? This hold is awesome. It's very hard to push into this hold, right? A team has to be pretty creative in general. So yeah, there's that. Are there any questions about the evens hold? It can probably be kind of hard to wrap your head around at first, but...
The gun and stay alive. Right?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
And then your medic just like tanks your soldier lower. And then
Right.
roamer, whenever you have crit heals, you can just like waddle over here and like keep watching your door and you can get crit healed like that. Because your med can reach up here. So there's that. Disad guns. Usually I just put my gun like here. There is like this sandbox area, but I usually just like putting it just behind it because if a soldier like accidentally hits this, if they hit the front side of the geometry, it won't hit the gun at all. So it's very small, but sometimes it helps, right? Other guns, you can put it on the crate, that's fine. Putting it here is okay. You kind of want to put it even like a little deeper. Because your gun can shoot through the boxes. Especially if it's level 3, it can shoot over. You might see Banning use this gun. It's pretty okay. This gun's okay. And then I like this gun. Make sure you put it like a little further back so it shoots point. But what this gun does is if it locks out their flank, it has cover a little bit to left, and it shoots point. And if they decide to jump through left, or right, I'm sorry. If they decide to jump through right, the gun stuffs them. So, I like this gun quite a bit. Those are most of the guns. If you have a lot of time, I've put guns down here before. It's pretty funny. Yeah, any a lot of NG is just pressing as much time as you have to put the gun in as wacky of a spot as you can, right? While not dying for it. And also having it as upgraded as possible. Level 2 is a pretty good place to be. Obviously, level 3 is preferred, but it's kind of rare that you're going to get a level 3 gun if the team is playing fast. If you want to have even a level 1 just in a weird spot, that's perfectly fine. But it has to work, you know what I mean? So yeah, level 2 is pretty good most of the time. Just this spot will get you by for most of your disad hold attempts. And then
Hey,
for
keep
even
going.
holds...
I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Sure. And then for even holds, again, this is the gun to use. Anything else? Last is pretty self-explanatory besides that, I think. If you're gonna run a gun sniper, you have your gun on the left and then your sniper on the right. Usually your sniper just watches like this. Otherwise, too, on an evens hold, your gun is down here, right? You can just have your sniper helping your roamer left, and you can keep the shutter door closed because you can see through it, right? And then just peek it whenever someone peeks. This is a very good anti-sniper strategy if you're having trouble with sniper and the sniper's peeking left a lot. Sure, yeah, your gun should be able to shoot drop down, but yeah, you can just outright kill him if you're keen enough. And then yeah, you can shoot shutter as well. General rule of thumb, put your resources, like your medic and your heavy and your demo, on the opposite side of the gun. So if your gun is left, put your resources... Oops. Yeah, it's on my ng config. Put your other resources just on the other side. And then same goes vice versa. When a fight breaks down, make sure you keep a few things in mind. If they are playing to rotate, then come out the side that they're not, right? It's very hard to get used to, but you might have run into a few times where their demo, they'll take their Uber shutter, and then you'll be like, okay, let's come out right, team, but then they jump right, you know what I mean? And then you're nuked. You have to be very observant about where they're ending their Uber, basically, so you can come out the opposite side for a fight. What else? I think that's most of it. I can talk about traps now. So, a lot of traps are pretty quirky on this map. Oh, you have all kinds of stuff. This box is pretty common. This shed is pretty common. I've even seen along this post pretty often. If you're playing to kill kitchen, you can even put them at the top of the staircase. The theory behind that is a scout is leading, right? So he'll be running up super fast, and he won't see them. So if you get the call they're coming kitchen, you can use that. Actually, within Saw, there's a few quirky places. You can hide them inside the saw blade pretty convincingly, if you keep them low. So yeah, that's annoying to deal with. Along this post has probably gotten you guys quite a few times. Outside of Saw, oh man. You'd be surprised how many people don't see this. Yeah, you can just hide them even directly in, and they probably won't be seen most of the time, but the sweet spot is usually just low and a little bit outside of the post. And they probably won't see them. This is a real place that you can stand. Getting ammo. So yeah, that'll get people sometimes. Along this whole area is good. There are the rock. Okay, so yeah, like lower, typical. Trapping both of these doorways is super annoying to deal with, by the way. Even just having one of them trapped, can hurt their pressure into second a lot too. This is kind of real. If they're not observant, you can get away with that one. Even like along here, when they like pull up, just like think about any little crevice, I'd say. These rocks have no clipping, which I think you might have known, which is annoying. Defensively, stuff like this is really useful. Yeah, you can't hide them in there anymore, huh? Inside of this, or like beside it, is good too. Anywhere along these boxes are very awesome. Like on either side. If you're a rat, any of these lower ones are good. You're kind of noticing a trend, just like any above doorways or like on the lower end of doorways. Any like sheer geometry is really good. This is common. So like if they're coming from saw and they try walking up, they probably won't see those. And then yeah, bucket. Very common. So common that people just by default just shoot this nowadays. Even like just shoot a rocket at it, whatever. Those are most of the key trap spots, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory, You can trap shutter. This has no clipping, so you can hide stickies in here, which is really annoying. So you can put like 2 or 3, and then just the rest above, Let me think. Yeah, I think that's most of them. Okay. Let's talk about hiding spots now real quick. Oh man, hiding. So, some of the more common ones, like kitchen here is pretty common. Even like here is very common. Hiding here is very real and very scary. Because it's a pretty dark corner, so you have to kind of surely check it, This is real. You might notice there are some dark corners. This is pretty real. Oh yeah, this is a trap spot too, by the way. I forgot to mention. Yeah, this is real. If they're coming lower, you might have a catch here. And again, if they're coming saw, you might have a high bomb here. Technically. It might only work once, to be honest. If you lose a mid-fight, dead ass. This has gotten me too many kills, just like sitting here. Because this is obvious, right? But this is like slightly less obvious. This is real. One of my soldiers introduced me to this, and they did it for over a week, and every new scrim that we played, it worked, right? Because you just like do whatever, you have your director's vision, and the way the angle works, you just like don't see it till you're really close, And yeah, the scout is like a little edged in, but if they're turned toward the wall, you can't see the launcher. You get my point. Try it once, see how it works. Not a lot of hiding spots here, besides this one. This is one to look out for. Rat shit. Technically up there works too. Sometimes you jump on this pallet and get up here. Let me think. Not a lot of hiding spots actually on second. Technically, you can crouch down here. So if they're pushing out, this is one place you can hide. Tires is a very common hiding spot. So is drop down. Aside from that, this is probably one of your better hiding spots on the map. If you wipe them on mid, one of your soldiers, trust me, like you will catch people. Just like standing here and they're rolling out, they won't check this more than likely. Not a whole lot of hiding spots on last. So yeah, I think that's most of the water. Oh yeah. If you're holding like drop down and shutter disad, you can sit on the spool as a soldier. This is one place you can stand technically. Any other questions about Snake?
No.
I don't have any.
Okay,
Acting, good job.
cool. Okay, yeah. Let me know if you have any other questions about the map.
All right.
Uh,